Prison Service gets emergency response vessel. One neighbor complains about the noise nuisance, but her neighbors deny her claims. In the region, Hurricane Dorian edges towards U.S. East Coast after Bahamas. And internationally, end of extradition bill fails to appease Hong Kong protesters. Greetings and welcome to this edition of Headline News Update. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. The management of the Demerara Harbour Bridge will be seeking compensation for the extensive bridge repairs. Wendell Jeffrey reports.
Kaichun News is reporting in their today's edition that Marina Oceanic and the barge, which was manned by Cubans, will have to pay for the expenses that were incurred for the repairs to the Demerara Harbour Bridge. The vessel is registered in Panama. According to the vessel's crew, the barge and tug, which was anchored in the Grove Diamond area, experienced technical problems and drifted with the falling tide and plowed into the bridge. The police had arrested the crew members for questioning. They have since been released. It took 60 bridge employees working around-the-clock shifts to repair the damage to the bridge. The bridge general manager, Ralston Adams, said that some 100,000 persons were affected and the repair cost will amount to millions of dollars. Channel 2 Headline News was informed that some commuters and business persons affected by the bridge closure are also seeking compensation for the inconvenience and their loss of income. The incidents, which closed the bridge in the wee hours of Monday morning, saw the bridge remaining closed until yesterday around 2 p.m. when it was open to light traffic. It was fully reopened at around 6 p.m. last evening. The bridge workers came in for high praise from both the subject minister, David Patterson, and the bridge general manager, Ralston Adams. For Channel 2 Headline News, Wendell Jeffrey.
Thanks, Wendell. The government of Guyana will be putting things in place to assist those affected in the Bahamas. This is according to Lieutenant Colonel Kester Craig, the Director General of the Civil Defense Commission. Craig said that the commission will meet with members of the private sector to see how together they can dispatch resources to the hurricane-ravaged island. The Civil Defense Commission will establish accounts at various commercial banks in Guyana so persons can make donations for relief efforts to the islands. The Commission will also be reaching out to Guyanese living in the Bahamas who are impacted to determine what level of support they may need. Last Sunday, Dorian, a Category 5 hurricane, slammed into the Abacus and Grand Bahama Islands, affecting an estimated 76,000 people. 7 persons have been confirmed dead on the island. Coming up after the break, Guyana Prison Service welcomes additional boats and neighbors squabble over how loud is too loud.
Styles. Simply different.
Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have so much waste to dispose of in the landfill? Well, composting can help us reduce the waste we dispose of by turning our organic waste into compost, which can be used to improve the quality of our soil.
Composting is very simple and convenient.
You can compost using organic waste such as vegetable skins,
or fallen leaves and cut grass and put this in a composting bin or pile.
Compost can help your garden grow healthy plants while reducing your volume of waste. It's a really good way to keep our communities clean and healthy.
So, let's all start composting our waste.
Find out how easy it is. Call us on 226-2189 or 227-8429 or visit our website moc.gov.ui. A message from the Ministry of Communities in collaboration with the Inter-American Development Bank.
Welcome to Kissoon's Furniture. Find everything you need for your home and more under one roof in our newly decorated showroom. Our locally crafted furniture has been perfected over the last 60 years. From our hands to your home, we also bring to you our newly introduced lines of imported furniture and sleep center, where you can find a wide range of beds and mattresses. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 60 years.
The Mazaruni prison got a newly constructed river vessel to assist the transporting of its prisoners. Wendell Jeffrey reports.
100 prisoners going to that facility.
Acting Director of Prisons Gladwin Samuels told the press corps yesterday that with the expansion of the prison in Mazaruni, there needs to be an emergency vessel, and this one is very welcomed. He explained that the first phase of the Mazaruni prison expansion is going to be completed before the end of the year, and this will see an additional 200 prisoners going to that facility. Samuel said that they need to be prepared. As a result, a rapid response emergency vessel was ceremoniously handed over to the Permanent Secretary, who was acting on behalf of the Minister of Public Security, Kemraj Ranjatan. The $11 million boat was constructed by the Guyana National Industrial Corporation and can transport up to 14 persons. Samuel said that the capacity of the Mazaruni prison will shortly increase and they need to be proactive.
Because the first phase of Mazaruni prison expansion is going to be completed before the end of the year, which would see an additional 200 prisoners going to that facility. It is only necessary that we ensure that we plan ahead and ensure that all the necessary resources are in place.
Getting high-profile prisoners to the hospital was also an issue that necessitated this boat.
There are times as well when we have high-profile prisoners to escort to the hospital, who we would like to do so as quickly as possible. Many times we are supported by the Guyana Police Force and, if necessary, the military. So there's a need for us to be on par with them in terms of our river assets.
The prison service already has the ML Troy W, which was handed over to them in 2017. This new and faster vessel will be a welcomed addition. For Channel 2 Headline News, Wendell Jeffrey.
Thanks, Wendell. An Alberton resident complains that her neighbor's music is way too loud. The neighbor says something is wrong with her. Esther Sobers reports.
Everything you do, she call the police.
Colin Hollingsworth, a disc jockey, and several other persons living in Alberton, Georgetown, have voiced their frustration and concerns with a particular neighbor whom they claim is affecting their livelihood. That neighbor is Chantel Daniels. Daniels would make numerous complaints to the Alberton police station, accusing neighbors of noise nuisance. The neighbors are claiming that Daniels is making false reports.
If you play music, if you lime, if somebody come to you and the park too close to her premises, she normally calls the police. And the police come, and without even doing any investigation or anything, they just keep giving you charges. They keep sending you to court over and over and over and over again. And I getting tired of what's going on here. I'm a young man. I entitled to have some amount of socializing when it comes to my neighbors and within my home.
The last incident involving the alleged noise nuisance was on Emancipation Day. DJ Colin recounted that the police came and found the music was not being played loud. However, the officer still confiscated his music system, claiming that they were instructed to do so by their superior officer.
He left, and within less than 5 minutes, he returned back. And he said he have orders from the commissioner to detain me and my equipment that is making the noise. Then they invite me to the Alberton police station. They charge me of disturbing the peace, and they put me on $10,000 bail.
DJ Colling is of the opinion that Mrs. Daniels may have friends or family members in the upper ranks within the police force. The irate DJ is insisting that they are breaking the law to suit her needs. Colleen noted that the other neighbors were also taken to court in the past for noise nuisance, and the matter was also dismissed by the judge. What are you hoping the outcome of the situation?
I need somebody to look into it to see if Ms. Daniels have a mental problem, because it's highly impossible for everything that a person do affect once. Ms. Daniels. It's highly impossible. I think Ms. Daniels have a mental problem, and somebody have to look into it.
Headline News also spoke to another neighbor, Sandra Summerson, the proprietor of Flavor Fish Shop Creole Food and Bar. Summerson business is located opposite Daniels' house. Summerson also complained of the same issue with Daniels. The businesswoman is claiming that for the past 5 years, she has spent almost $500,000 on lawyers and have lost customers because of the complaints made by Daniels.
She always make report for noise nuisance. When the police come, they see that there's no noise, they would go away, they would come back. She got her friend at Brigham. The 911 operator, she helps her to let the police come to torment me. Okay, I call it torment, and this is torture. It gone to. But for 5 years, the police cannot solve this issue because I know she got her police friends them.
Yet another neighbor is claiming that reports to the police go beyond noise nuisance, as he was also placed before the courts for other matters that were dismissed.
She was the one that initiated the complaint at the station saying that I tried to assault her sister with a bottle. And next one being damage to property. All two of those matters were thrown out from court because they could not find sufficient evidence to charge me with it in court.
Headline News reached out to Daniels to hear her side of the story. Daniels didn't want to speak on camera. However, she provided us with a recording of the music she deems as nuisance. Daniels noted that she has no issues with anyone but with the level of music being played, which she sometimes finds not suitable for children. Daniels further noted that the music being played would give her headaches and cause her to spend prolonged hours at a family member. Daniels admitted to making reports to the police, but she is dissatisfied with the police actions as she is seeking justice to end the noise nuisance. Contact was also made to the Alberton police station, but all our calls went unanswered. Channel 2 Headline News will continue to follow and update this story from the police perspective. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. When we return, Hurricane Dorian edges towards U.S. East Coast after Bahamas, and end of extradition bill fails to appease Hong Kong protesters.
Are you kidding me? Really? So wrong. That is not what we were taught at the Green Generation Guyana camp.
Is this the correct way to do it? Drivers, you have two options that you can use. First, you can temporarily put your empty plastic bottles in the trunk of your vehicle or on the ground on the passenger side next to you. Or secondly, place them in the nearest garbage bin you see. We need you to play your part in helping us keep the environment clean and healthy. A message from the Ministry of Communities, Green Generation Guyana Sanitation Program. For more information, please contact us on 592-227-2605, or you may find us on the World Wide Web at www.moc.gov.gy.
Welcome to Kissoon's Furniture. Find everything you need for your home and more under one roof in our newly decorated showroom. Our locally crafted furniture has been perfected over the last 60 years. From our hands to your home, we also bring to you our newly introduced lines of imported furniture and sleep center, where you can find a wide range of beds and mattresses. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 60 years.
Styles. Simply different.
Welcome back. Hurricane Dorian is slowly moving closer to the United States after crushing much of the Bahamas. It left a humanitarian crisis in its wake as a major rescue and search effort underway. Al Jazeera Andy Galachar reports.
As Hurricane Dorian edges away from the Bahamas, a clearer picture of its devastating power is emerging. Grand Bahama and Abaco Island were hit hardest, with storm surges and powerful winds. This is now a humanitarian crisis, hampered by the storm's slow path through the region. Continued heavy rains and high winds mean the true extent of the damage may not be known for days, but early reports suggest the rescue and recovery operation will be huge.
We also understand that about 62,000 people across the two islands will need access to clean drinking water. It's not an unfamiliar thing to say in a disaster, but when there's no water after a disaster, that can have serious secondary impacts. So that will be a priority, not just for the Red Cross, but for the government and for the UN system.
The Red Cross says at least 13,000 homes have either been severely damaged or destroyed. Rebuilding will be a long process, but saving those stranded by one of the most powerful storms recorded is a priority.
Of the 25 individuals that were transported to New Providence, 2 has already succumbed. That would take the number of deaths to 7. And again, I want to assure and inform the Bahamian population that we can expect more deaths to be recorded.
Dorian now threatens the US East Coast, where preparations, evacuation orders and warnings have been in place for days. The storm's predicted path shows no landfall in Florida, but at Cape Canaveral, NASA has moved sensitive equipment as the storm edges closer. Georgia and the Carolinas remain on high alert, and many residents have heeded warnings to prepare for the worst.
I'm hoping that by being so early with our preparations, they will all be in vain and we will not have needed to do it.
Much of Florida's east coast remains under hurricane watch, and there is still a danger of high gusts of wind and storm swells coming in from the Atlantic Ocean. But if the track stays as it is predicted, the storm should be about 170 kilometers off the east coast, even as it makes its way up to Georgia and the Carolinas. That is potentially
good news for millions of people, but everyone is being warned not to get complacent.
In the next few hours and days, much-needed resources will pour into the Bahamas. Even for a nation used to dealing with powerful hurricanes, this is an unprecedented situation.
And in international news, Hong Kong's chief executive Carrie Lam has agreed to one of the main demands of the long-running protest movement. She has announced the withdrawal of an extradition bill that would have allowed criminal suspects to be sent to mainland China for trial. But protest leaders are not willing to call off their demonstrations. Al Jazeera Wayne here reports.
It's what millions of people have been demanding for months. The complete withdrawal of an extradition bill that many in Hong Kong had come to view as a symbol of a much larger problem.
The government will formally withdraw the bill in order to fully allay public concerns. The Secretary for Security will move a motion according to the rules of procedure when the Legislative Council resumes.
The bill led to months of protests that have at times paralysed parts of the city, seen hundreds of arrests and regular violence with police.
The Honourable Mrs. Carrie Lam Cheng.
Previous overtures from Chief Executive Carrie Lam to suspend the legislation in June and then announce that it was dead in July failed to end the unrest. There are more large rallies planned in the days ahead, which is when we'll find out if Carrie Lam's decision will have the desired effect or if protesters believe it's come way too late. The protesters viewed the bill as just another example of mainland China's growing influence on Hong Kong, so its withdrawal could be seen as a rare concession by Beijing. Demonstrators' demands have evolved into broader democratic reforms and an independent commission of inquiry into the crisis and the actions of police. Rally organisers say the legislation's withdrawal will be celebrated briefly, but it's not enough to end the crisis. And by not agreeing to all their demands, they believe Carrie Lam has proved again she's out of touch with her people.
Carrie Lam herself make herself irrelevant. She already proved so many times, too many times to Hong Kong people that she really doesn't care about Hong Kong people. If a leader behave like that, Hong Kong people will not care about her at all.
The announcement came less than a day after a private conversation was leaked to the media in which Lam said she'd resign and apologise for the chaos if she could. That was seen as an indication that it was China that would decide her fate and that of the bill. Even some pro-government politicians believe withdrawing the legislation is the right thing to do, but it's too late.
If you ask anyone in the street whether they still remember what that bill is about, I think probably 20% can tell you. You ask the protesters, I doubt that even 10% remember. It's not about the bill anymore.
Which is likely to mean that the city's crisis is far from over. Wayne Hay, Al Jazeera, Hong Kong.
Here is your 3-day weather forecast. That is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Update. Tune in on Thursday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook and YouTube, or you can visit our website at headlinenewsguyana.com for more news. Until then, take care.